Today, we're digging into Google's massive new bet on the UK's AI future. It's a multi-billion-pound plan, and it all kicks off in a place you probably wouldn't expect.
So let's start with a bit of a riddle. What on earth could a brand new, enormous building in a town called Waltham Cross possibly have to do with the global race to build the future of artificial intelligence? Well, it turns out the answer is pretty much everything. So, that building we were just talking about, it's not just any building. It's the physical starting point of this whole story, a brand new hub for one of the biggest tech companies on the planet. Yep, Google is setting up shop in Waltham Cross with a brand new, massive data center. And we're not just talking about a big server room here. Think of this as the new engine for their AI dreams in the UK.
And of course, a hub like this doesn't come cheap. So let's talk numbers, because the price tag is, well, it's a big one.
Get this, £5 billion. And the craziest part, this isn't some 10-year grand plan. This is what Google's planning to invest in the UK in just the next 2 years. And this data center is right at the heart of it all.
And that $5 billion isn't just for the building itself. A huge chunk of that cash is going straight into research and development, especially for Google DeepMind. You know, the UK-based team that's behind some of the biggest AI breakthroughs. So you've got the physical hardware and the brain power getting a boost all at once. So you gotta ask, right? Why drop this much money right now? Well, it's all about fueling this massive new AI economy that's really starting to take off. And you don't have to take my word for it. The reason, straight from Google, is to keep up with the absolutely exploding demand for AI services. I mean, every time you use a smart assistant or get a recommendation online, you're part of that demand.
And this isn't some fuzzy, abstract idea. We're talking about the real-world power needed for things you probably use every single day. Things like Google Cloud, your basic Google search, even Google Maps. All of these are getting smarter, more AI-driven, and that takes a ton of processing power.
So you can see the logic, right? It's a pretty simple chain. First, we, the public, are using more and more AI. Second, that means you need more powerful gear to run it all. And third, by building that gear in the UK, it gives the whole country's AI scene a major boost.
Okay, but this whole thing isn't just happening inside a computer. It has real, tangible effects out here in the real world. We're talking jobs and, believe it or not, a big push for clean energy. 8,250. That's how many jobs this investment is expected to support in the UK every single year. So the ripple effect here is huge, way beyond just the people working at the data center itself. But it's not all about the money. This quote here is really important. When they say they're growing our infrastructure responsibly, they're pointing to a huge challenge. Data centers use a ton of energy, and Google's making it clear they're trying to tackle that problem head on. So how are they going to do that? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They've set up this partnership. Google's goal is to have a completely carbon-free energy supply for their UK sites, and Shell is coming in with the solution, some really innovative battery technology. And here's the really clever bit. These aren't just batteries for Google. They're designed to store extra clean energy when it's available, like on a super windy day when the wind turbines are going full blast. Then, when the whole country needs more power, they can feed that stored energy back into the grid. So a private investment actually ends up helping stabilize the entire national power supply. Pretty smart. All right, so let's step back and look at the big picture here. This one data center, this £5 billion plan, it's not just a one-off thing. It's a piece of a much larger puzzle. At the end of the day, this whole project is really the latest proof of a long-term commitment. It's Google making a huge bet on the UK, basically saying, we believe this country is going to be a major leader in AI for a long, long time to come. Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question to think about. With this kind of foundation now being built, what's the next big step for the UK's AI future? Where do we go from here?